been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
After a 2-week off break here, we're back and live here for the Racing Revolution Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. Miles the Monster is hungry, and tonight we have a guest that was producing Season 4. He's back in the broadcast booth with us. Welcome in Morgan Cook back to Racing Revolution, and well, it's a totally different environment here, Morgan, compared to what you saw last time. Rob Rader is not having as dominant of a season, and it looks like Jeremy Burns, who won the Truck Series Championship just this past Monday, is going to put on another great show. He's up to, I believe, 6 wins this season.
Yeah, unbelievable. Jeremy Burns has been for both last season and this one here, as we're here at Dover for the EV to know 200. Not only is Miles the Monster hungry, so are those pit barrels, but maybe this is that racetrack. Maybe this is finally that week that Trevor Keith and Rob Rader can get it together and finally put some positive momentum down and move towards the playoffs here for season number 5 of this series.
Yeah, we're just coming off that race at Chicago Street Course. It was within the last 175 feet that Jeremy Burns led a lap, and it was the final one. Trevor Keith dominated that race. He was looking for his first victory to lock himself in. He needs this win, and we're running out of regular season races. We'll bring those points up on your screen now. But you look here with Trevor Keith, he's near that cutoff mark, and a win would just, ease all of that anxiety. Going here at Dover, though, it's a tough place to pass, and the concrete surface, of course, is very abrasive.
Absolutely, and you talk about Trevor Keith, and of course we talked about Rob Rader earlier, but there's other guys around that cut line too. Alex Forget, he is usually very dominant on these concrete racetracks. I'd look for him to be fast tonight. Kyle Diaz is close to that cut line. So is Nick Alves. Parker Johnson obviously is the closest to it, and then Grant Thorpe, Michael Bennett, Michael Call on the other side of it. They're going to have to pick it up here, or else they're going to get left behind, and you don't want to get left behind here for the playoffs.
And Alex Forget was in the top 10 for a lot of this season. He just recently fell out of that spot in that top 10, but this is the playoff picture after Chicago, and there's actually a driver that is not on this actual graphic that is locked in, so I'm going to have to do a little bit better of a job getting that information out there. I think we're going to add on when we get on to the next week and make it to where we can see these drivers that are locked in. But it's Brandon Richardson that has a victory there, and he is actually 21st in points, but will be in the top 16 going on as long as he can maintain and make the minimum requirements of races.
Yeah, back from Atlanta earlier this season, correct?
Yeah. So that's, a lot of these drivers are kind of split up because of the victories, and then they have a bad week next week. Alex Forget has 2 wins, and being outside the top 10, if he's not up front in the top 5, he's having problems, and I think a lot of it has been qualifying for the 19.
And seeding absolutely matters here for the playoffs. You want to be up on the top 10 to get those extra stage points, extra playoff points.
Absolutely. So let's take a look here at Dover, and this racetrack, of course, the same as it's always been. 1969 when it was built, 24 degrees of banking. The concrete surface, of course, has been repaired and patched, and the main thing here that's changed is the artwork and the way this racetrack is going to evolve as we get ready for our grid here. It's going to go from mostly cloudy setting to what the weather was predicting to a probably mostly clear by the end of it. So it'll be extra hot, and this track will heat up after stage 1.
And since 1969, it is still white lightning. This place is unbelievable. And I'm excited to see this race go once we get to our grid.
One more thing here with our race analysis, 200 laps, 35 pit road speed limit. That's the important one right there. We were talking about the pit barrels and the steep banking. It makes it very, very difficult to transition off of that turn 4. Most drivers will start their pit stop about turn 3. 5 tire sets available. You're going to need them. 2 green, white checkers, and that stage at lap 30 on the iRacing fixed setup. But with that, it's time to hit our grid. And starting on the top spot for that Coastal Financial Pole Award, it's going to be Jeremy Burns. He's got 6 wins so far at 23.039 over Travis Gilbert. He's got a few wins as well. He'll start in the 2nd spot. Row number 2 is going to belong to Dylan Picklesheimer, Dakota Floyd. Then we have Carter Lenz and Justin Ritchie. Trevor Erhardt and Trevor Keith. 8th position for Trevor Keith. Parker Johnson and Michael Call back here for the top 10.
Matt Robinson will start in 11th in the 11 machine. Michael Reed rolls off in 12th. Row 7, Alex Forget, Beru Bay and Rob Rader. 15th will be Daniel Holloway. 16th, Kevin Orlando Jr. 17th, Grant Turner. 18th, Kyle Stewart. 19th is Brandon Richardson. 20th is Michael Bennett. As we're rolling turn 3 here before the start of the race.
Christopher Schaefer, Caleb Gilbert, Tyler Harrison. I'm sure he has the Rally County cam on. There's the rest of your grid. Here we go for week number 19, live from Dover, Delaware. Jeremy Burns is going to hit the loud pedal, and hopefully no pit barrels for these drivers.
Oh, we're wrecking! The whole field's in it!
57. It's a junkyard down the front stretch. Wow, Morgan Cook, have you ever seen that before?
I absolutely have, and it was right here. The 2nd place car spun his tires and wrecked the entire field. Race 1 at Dover last year.
Not a lot of substantial damage, but everybody from the 2nd row back was involved in this. Unbelievable.
Absolutely right. Unbelievable. A lot of drivers having minimal nose damage out of this. A lot of them got away unscathed. Trevor Keith has damage on the nose.
The entire 2nd row fell apart.
The 1st row, too. I mean, yeah, everybody went around except for Jeremy Burns, it seemed like.
Well, for me, it's a V-speed first. I've never seen this racetrack clog up like this. I mean, we've seen it with, 6 or 7 cars involved, but not everyone from 3rd place back.
Well, I can tell you why, and it's 2 words: first gear. You cannot start here in 1st gear. A lot of drivers at the front of these fields like to try and start in 1st gear to get that initial acceleration, that short shift to 2nd. The problem is the gear here is so short that if you try and stop it in first, you will absolutely dump the car like we just saw 3/4 of the field do, and then it clogs the whole racetrack. This place, we've talked about it many times here, 9 degrees of banking on the front stretch. Everyone's going to wash down the racetrack. It's self-cleaning. That's exactly what happened here. Raider got through fairly clean, but the drivers to the inside, not so much.
And I think it would be easier to name the drivers that weren't involved in this, so we'll go with Jeremy Burns, Carter Lenz, Trevor Erhardt, Parker Johnson, and I believe Trevor Keith made it away unscathed.
Keith has damage.
He has a little bit, yeah, I see there now on the right front.
So you got 4 cars that got out of that fine, and a bunch of drivers lost track position. Some have damage. Definitely not the way you wanted to start your day. You were right at the start of the show. Miles absolutely was hungry to start this one.
Oh, he's starving. Again, this goes on, and we'll probably see it go green. This has been quality racing. I know that we've had some hiccups, but we've went through some of these racetracks that where you would typically think, Morgan, they're going to have at least 7 to 8 cautions minimal, and they'll go caution free. And then other tracks where we have had caution free races, or 1 or 2 cautions, they've kind of forgot how to get around them. So with the updates and the changes, I can understand. iRacing has changed this car immensely in the past month or 2, and so guys still trying to get used to things. But one thing that's been constant, Morgan, you can't start this racetrack in first gear.
Absolutely right, and that's something that you have no other opportunity to test, right? The only way you can test that is on a race start or a restart. So you wouldn't ever know until you try it, and unfortunately many of the field tried it right there, and it just didn't quite go their way. And the drivers who were a little more conservative, like Jeremy Burns, Carter Lenz, and the rest of the top 4, got away from it pretty clean.
So you're looking at the recent art update with this amazing camera angle on TV2 that shows us the catch fence that's now 3-dimensional. We'll probably have to work on that. A lot of these cameras, as you can see, we've got 3D poles everywhere that are clipping in and out, and it's another one of those things you don't know until you do it. So just like that restart or the initial start of this race, we're having a little bit of things that we're finding out slowly. We'll learn together. Let's try it again here. The initial start of this race, week number 19, Dover, Delaware. Here we go for the Chapman Cup Series, and Burns gets a big jump. Everybody conservative on this one.
Still has some drivers out of shape, but we are going to sail off into turn number 1. Much more successful this time around.
And this is where Miles the Monster plays a lot of cards as well. He just got Carter Lenz. Got a piece of that right side off of the exit of turn 2. Put that ticker up on the screen and talk about how already this field has kind of flip-flopped. From about 5th on back, we've got drivers that have gained a ton of positions because of what happened.
And the opposite, drivers below 18 have lost a ton of ground. Once you started up in the top 5, top 3 are now way back. Justin Ritchie as well started in the 2nd row. Finds himself in 21st.
And Christopher Schaefer with a black flag on that restart. I think he was trying to avoid a driver. We'll take it back here a little bit. Take a look and see if there was a black flag for passing under the yellow. If he was trying to avoid a car, that's Sirkovich in front of him. And yeah, Sirkovich kind of stuttered there, and that's why that black flag appeared for the 23 car.
I would hope that that black flag gets cleared, because that is...
Yeah, I think he should be asking for it here.
As close to avoiding an accident as you can get without, there actually being an accident. We shall see. The admins in this league have always been fair and just, so
yeah, just cleared them for us. So.
Fantastic. Appreciate them for all that they do. That great admin team here, Racing Revolution Cup Series.
So on board with Dylan Picklesheimer, and I just watched the race last night, Morgan. I don't know if you had a chance to catch the one on Tuesday night, but Dylan Picklesheimer got beat up as we looked 3 wide just ahead of him. This guy was on probation in that league, in that series. And the poor guy, ever since then, has been, very conservative, but everyone around him just runs him over. So I'm hoping that he can get back to being confident and maybe a little bit aggressive, not have that microscope watching.
Well, this is a difficult place to try and and stay out of the way if that's what the goal is. You really have to drive this place at 100% all the time, or else the tires wear worse, you get worse fuel mileage. It's kind of a weird racetrack in that way. It's backwards to a lot of places. If you're not 100%, you are going to struggle at this racetrack.
So the other part of this is trying to complete a pass. You'll get the run on the entrance of these corners, but when you try to get back to the throttle, you don't have that runoff. And there's a big hump here out of the exit of turn 2 that will send you to the outside wall. But unfortunately for the guy on the inside, those cars bounce off that wall and come back into you.
Absolutely. Well, those 3-story houses in your neighborhood, they're the same height as the drop-off into turn number 1 and turn number 3, and the rise out of turn 2 and turn number 4. So just think about that. You're going up a very steep hill at about 160 miles an hour. You're expecting the front tires to bite. Very easy to catch that wall, like you said, Bradley. Very difficult to pass this racetrack. One of the most difficult on the circuit.
We're starting to see that weather already clear up. When we started this event, it started back around 88 degrees. It's already picked up. It was 88 in practice. It's worked its way up to 99 now. We started with overcast. You can already see the cloud transitions as it's cloudy again, light little haze, and then it'll just break out the sun. And this concrete surface, not as dark, of course, as asphalt, but it does heat up with the racing line, and you can see that portion of the racetrack darkening in as they run around this place.
And add that rubber, that one thing that we're seeing here after 14 laps, lap times have fallen off a cliff. We're 7/10 off the pace already. We've only run 10 under green. So careful. Tires are going to matter a lot throughout this race.
Watching the last lap times on your ticker on the left-hand side compared to those best lap times. Jeremy Burns has fallen off about 7/10. He ran a 23.277 on his out lap. The first lap we ran under green, now at a 23, now 24. It's falling off quickly.
My understanding is we'll fall down to about 2 seconds off the pace, which will really open us up for interesting strategy, undercuts, overcuts, staying out, 2 tires, all that fun stuff. It's all in play here tonight. But you better make sure when you pit that you avoid those pit barrels. The most difficult pit entry to make in probably any NASCAR track that there is.
See if we can get a good look at these pit barrels. I think from the turn 4, you can just see them there on the right-hand side. But the best camera angle that we're probably going to get to look at is right here on the front end of a car as it goes into it. This is a throwback paint scheme if you've ever seen one. Watch here. Pyrus on the hood of the 53, and I'm not exactly sure if that was intentional or not. Usually we have Chapman Environmental on the hood of the 53 machine.
Yeah, definitely an interesting throwback scheme for the 53.
Parker Johnson running in the 4th spot. Trevor Erhardt. The top 5 have kind of split off from the rest of this field, and I think partial to the damage. All these cars back here have a little bit of it, and I think the guys that escaped that first incident are finding their way a lot easier around Dover.
Yeah, this track naturally drives pretty tight. The car doesn't want to turn up off the corner. We talked about the big drive up out of the corner, and then that landing really hurts the front tires. So if you have any kind of nose damage, that car is just going to drive so much worse, so much harder to turn. And then couple that with how hard it is to pass. Drivers like who we're on board with here in the 14 machine, he doesn't have damage on the nose, but he can't get around Trevor Keith. So how's he supposed to pass him? It's the car won't stick on the bottom. So it's very difficult. There, Keith's going to get out of the way here. Very difficult to make passes unless someone gets out of the way for you just like that.
Trevor Keith getting a little bit tight on his own there. Allows the 14 of Michael Bennett to go by. Dakota Floyd also goes by. The 2 spots lost here for Keith. He still has that front end damage. And here's another car as we try to get a better camera angle. That's the 12 of Justice Murphy catching up. His car looks pretty clean though. The All About Loves number 12 starting to catch up to the back end of the 15.
Biggest mover of the race, up 16. He started second to last in this field. Not a great qualifying effort for Justice Murphy. Up to the top 10 by virtue of a little bit of damage on everyone else and just some good old-fashioned elbows out race car driving.
Trevor Keith's being mighty cordial right now Of course, those pit barrels sponsored by KSX Graphics. But I know that for Keith, I think he's just aware of his damaged car not handling the way he wants it to, and he just doesn't want to get involved with anything else this early.
And we talked about the top of the show. He's had a difficult season along with Rob Rader. Obviously, almost won that race a few weeks ago. So when you have damage on the nose, we are not even at the stage yet. You're in a position where you can probably get stage points, maybe not. Just be cautious, be patient. There's a lot of race left. No need to be fighting hard for 8th right now, wreck the car, and now you get no points the rest of the day. So just cautious. That's the mark of a championship 4 potential driver.
He's Stone 48 on Twitch. You can check him out. He's live right now. Back up front, though, it's Jeremy Burns leading every single lap so far. 24 of the laps and 25 in. Burns is on another level, and he has been for the majority of this season. It's the road courses that we've not seen competitiveness in this series. Morgan, I know last season when you covered them, you were doing the production. And how many road course races did you see Jeremy Burns just go out and dominate?
Yeah, it was a clean sweep. He won all 6. I think there was 5 or 6 last year. He won every one of them. There was really not a ton for competition until we got to Chicago and the Roval. Then those races were reasonably contested. The margin of victory was under 10 seconds, which, considering Coda, the victory was like 45 seconds or something absurd like that. It was pretty close, but he definitely went out there. I think he won all the poles but one and won all the races. So really was the Jeremy Burns show when you had to turn left and right last year. And that was, I think, 5 or 6 of his 9 wins last year came on road courses.
Now I got to throw the asterisk on the season. Carter Lenz, he's been very competitive at those racetracks. Then you could put Trevor Keith in that as well. He led almost every single lap at Chicago Street Course until the end. And that went down to the final corner where the 15 lost it and ended up falling out of the podium after he got back to the throttle too soon. So he's still looking for that all-elusive win. There's a lot of drivers still looking for that all-elusive win. And some of these guys are still trying to sort it out to go single file as we look back here around the 15th spot. The 22 of Travis Gilbert on the recovery. He was back in 24th position, now up to 16th.
Absolutely here. And this is another driver who I think he's got a couple wins on the season. He started up on the front row, hit the wall before the start-finish line. And he's now just trying to rebound. You might not get stage points from here unless you pull some strategy. So again, be patient, be cautious. There's no reason to wreck the car right now.
This is for Schaefer, who had that black flag cleared. He is running in 15th spot. Justin Ritchie just ahead. The field is spreading out progressively. I'm trying to find maybe the closest battle on the racetrack is between Parker Johnston, Dakota Floyd, and the 57.
And of the drivers who were caught up in that accident, the one who is making the best ground back has been Dakota Floyd. Started, I believe, in the 3rd position, 4th position, something like that. He was the first one to hit the outside wall before the start-finish line. He's now back up to the top 5 with a little bit of right front damage on that 57 machine. So he's definitely got the pace on the long run. I'm curious to see what the strategy looks like as Dylan Picklesheimer's falling down the field right now. On pit road, first driver.
So we're naming off tracks. Debbie Smith has the statistics here in the chat. We're throwing out the names with Coda, Phoenix, Texas, Charlotte, Michigan, Sonoma, and Chicago Street for all the wins that the number 9 machine has had. As we look back up front here, Rob Rader still has company with Carter Lenz. He's within a couple tenths of him. You're starting to wonder as Jeremy Burns is pulled away about a full second now from the 53.
And Rader was another driver who, he started way in the back here. Gained 12 spots already, started 14, so I guess midfield. Already up to 2nd and showing that he does have the pace to run with Burns. Their lap times are only off by a little under a 10th. Carter Lenz right there as well, so the dirty air, once that cycles itself back out, we get a restart. These top 3 are definitely in a league a little different from the rest of the field right now.
We're halfway to that stage, a little bit beyond that. Of course, coming at lap number 60. Right now, with this 200 lap race length, we haven't seen those green flag pit stops yet. I gotta wonder, 60 laps, Morgan. We know this car, we know the fuel. Do you think anybody's gonna come down with having
Oh, we got a
caution?
crash
Parker
on the front
Johnston.
stretch. Picklesheimer just got put in the fence. Picklesheimer just pit a few laps ago here. He's trying to get by all these slower cars on the new tires. Just had a big moment there with Justice Murphy off of turn 4. If we can go back and see it about a lap ago. So here it comes off of pit road. This is the out lap. So a little cold tires, but definitely better than the rest of the field here. Lap after this.
So this is where he's going to start, getting confident, got the speed. The closing
Absolutely.
rate is going to be a full second right here in this turn.
Yeah, so we're watching that car with the red back bumper. That's where this happened. Ripping the high side here, gets right beside Murphy. Murphy gets tight, puts him in the fence. I thought that was going to be the big one. Ended up not being. They all kept it straight, but I think that's probably a little bit of damage on the right side of the 35 machine.
With Picklesheimer coming down, Caleb Gilbert also found his way to pit road. Parker Johnston in the 48. They've all hit the pit, so they're kind of splitting this run in half, and that kind of confirms a little bit of what I was wondering. Are these drivers going to have to come down and pit before the stage break?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I just wondered if anybody would try to stretch this out all the way to the end and just, take that loss on the stage points and then have fresh tires for the switchover when everyone else comes in.
Well, you're not far off, Bradley, so you can go about 50 max on fuel here. So if you're running up at the front of the field, you could try a very aggressive strategy where you pit for a full stop at the stage, or like here, and then don't pit at the stage, or you pit for a very minimal stop here and then pit for a full stop at the stage, trying to get stage points or cycle out in front for the lead. So could do a lot of things here. Curious to see what drivers end up doing.
We'll get a shot here of our KSX pit barrels. They're just off of that right-hand side of the screen. Trying to get a better angle at these. See if I can find it here with, I believe it's Kevin Orlando coming down pit road here in just a moment's time. Best angle I can give you right here. We're right on board and we'll go right on by him. See how difficult that pit road is?
Yeah, like I mentioned, the most difficult one here in NASCAR, in this series, and in really any series. This one in Darlington are definitely the two most difficult pit roads that there are on iRacing.
That was the other one I was going to compare it to, is Darlington, because you hit such a harsh transition. And that track is almost even worse because you have to travel almost 300, 400 feet to get to the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, definitely an interesting layout on that 1.336 or 366 mile racetrack, but we're not there right now. We're at Miles Playground here in Dover, Delaware. Burns continues to lead, as you would expect on this season.
It's Carter Lenz who's getting around. He got by Rob Rader, and with all this different traffic, car on the wall, that's Sirkovich in the 5. With all this lap traffic and drivers that are on different strategies, 45 laps in, Burns continues to stay out. I wonder if he's just trying to stretch this lead out as far as he can before he comes down pit road, or if there's something we don't know about. With that caution the way it fell, they might be able to make it 55 laps, but I don't think it bottomed enough to make it to the stage end.
No, I would agree with you. I think he's just kind of going to run this out as long as you can. The problem with this racetrack when it comes to short pitting, you go 2 laps down. So the more drivers you can have 2 laps down, the more nervous the rest of the field is. Because as you fans know, you well-educated racing fans, when you're 1 lap down, you can get a waiver and you can get a lucky dog, you can get that lap back on the lead lap you're racing. When you're 2 laps down, it is so much more difficult to get back to the lead lap. So you don't want to pit early if you can help it at these racetracks, unless you are very confident it's going to go green.
So Rob Rader brought it down pit road. Now Carter Lenz, the 5 of Sirkovich, and I think that's going to give a few of these drivers some advantage as they continue to stay out. Kyle Stewart, Justin Ritchie, Dakota Floyd still out there, and Jeremy Burns is going to tick off another lap. Here comes the 57. Nobody's hit the pit barrels yet, Morgan.
There will be one, I am sure of it. Such a difficult pit road. Burns coming down this time, it looks like. Ritchie's on pit road as well.
On board here with Kyle Stewart. He's going to avoid them. Oh, there it is. We found one.
Schaefer.
Pit barrels claim a victim here. The 23 of Christopher Schaefer.
Kyle Stewart too fast, entering pit road as well.
All right, we got to go back and do it justice here. Too fast entering pit road for the 10, but this one just couldn't avoid it.
Yeah, day ender, lost the magical smoke. That's a tough break.
Alex Forget now coming down pit road just behind the 15 of Trevor Keith, locks it up. Gets right up on the back end of the 39. I think they're, well, I thought that he bumped him, but he already had that damage from earlier.
He did, and that will complete the pit cycle, and very different strategies throughout this field. Rob Rader, who's going to assume the lead from Jeremy Burns. 2 tires. Jeremy Burns, no tires. Carter Lenz, no tires. Dakota Floyd, no tires. Dylan Picklesheimer, first driver, on 4 fresh ones. It'll be very interesting to see how this shakes out with the stage. And what do they do at the stage in 8 laps? Many questions.
Yeah, I assume that they're going to come back in and get 4 fresh ones, but for some of these drivers that already took 4, they're going to stay out. I guarantee you, with 5 tire sets available, these things are at a premium. If we get a late, 2 or 3 cautions, then it's going to toss it up again. You want to have tires in your back pocket for these final laps of this event because they fall off quickly.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. They fall off quickly. We talked about 9/10 after about 10 laps. So it's only going to get worse from there. I don't know if you have a points graphic, Bradley, but the way the running order is right now, driver who desperately needs points is currently leading. Boys, he doesn't have a win, but he needs points for seeding. Rob Rader is currently leading this race. This will get him back within 6 points of that cut line, should it end the way it is right now.
Thankfully for Rader, he does have a victory, but you want to accumulate as many of those as you can. Add your list to multi-time winners. We only have 3 of those with Jeremy Burns, Travis Gilbert, and Alex Forget. Everybody outside of this, and with the exception there of 21st position in points. Yeah, there's still a lot of racing left to be done, but not a lot as far as regular season, where it counts the most to get you into that playoffs. It's Rob Rader with the lead. We're watching back here with Carter Lenz. Dakota Floyd is about 2 seconds off of that. The top 5 has spread out tremendously, and the closest battle on the racetrack right now is Alex Forget going to the inside of Brandon Richardson for 13th. We're coming up on 4 laps to go for stage 1.
Still a little bit of damage on the left front of that 19 machine. Not enough time to get it fixed under green flag. A lot of these drivers are waiting for that caution period to come out so they get the rest of the damage fixed here in just a few laps. Field single file for the moment. Hoping probably it stays this way so they can get these things back to the pit area and get them fixed up.
Winter actually has came down 1 degree. The sun hasn't been out for quite a while. We saw it there through 3 and 4. Rob Rader looks like he might just lock it up, and Terry Hudgens with some hopeful. I think he's got maybe a voodoo doll in the chat right now, hoping that Burns was popped for speeding down pit road. Well, I don't think that happened for you.
Yeah, no dice. Burns currently P2 right now. And this was a play to save a set of tires, like you were talking about earlier. He did not take tires, and you can tell because he is quite a bit slower than Rob Rader. It's about 0.4 of a second right now. But he's just kind of on a Sunday drive. He's got the fastest car here. He's got the extra set of tires, playing it nice and conservative for number 9.
And looking through, this is the top 10 that will get stage points. White flag next time. Why? But between here and Justice Murphy, Caleb Gilbert, this is for 8th spot. One position ahead here for Caleb Gilbert if he can get the run. Out of 2 into 3. He's looking a little bit faster on the entries, but I don't think he's going to make anything happen here. White flag in the air for stage number 1. Rob Rader's got it locked up.
For 2 drivers that started in the 20s, going back to to Gilbert and Murphy, gaining a lot of spots here.
And Rob Rader comes by. He's going to let the 27 go around. Yeah, that's courteous there. Going to let him on the lead lap. But Rob Rader is going to get stage number 1. Unless they change the stage, and they're just that far back here. Waiting on that yellow. There it is. Stage complete. He almost came around for another lap.
Well, 15 seconds at a racetrack where you lap it in about 24 seconds. Yeah, that's most of the lap. So Justin Ritchie in 10th didn't hit the start-finish line until Rader was already into turn number 3, which is unbelievable just how much of a lead this top 5 had.
These drivers checking up on the backstretch. Your top 10 on the left-hand side of your screen. It's Rader, Burns, Lenz, Floyd, Erhardt, Reed, Pickles, Simer. Great drive for him, Murphy, Gilbert, and Ritchie. So stage 1 complete. Rob Rader going to bring him down pit road, and now you got to wonder who's going to stay out. Of course, those drivers, they got pinned a lap down. We were talking about how they're only going to get one of them back when you go 2 laps down. So a few of them got trapped there on that late segment. They had the tires, but they could never get back around the leaders. And so we have 5 or 6 cars that are staying out with Trevor Keith, Michael Call, Tyler Harrison, and a few others that are going to get the lap back.
That's put you in a bit of a hole for the rest of the race because you're going to have to fight to get that back, and you're going to be on a little bit worse tire here for the start of the stage. For those guys that are hoping for a quick caution so they can get cycled back within the same realm of the rest of the field. Otherwise, it could be a long day here for the final 140 odd laps.
And Rob Rader will win the battle off of pit road. The 9 of Burns, out second Lenz, Floyd, and Erhardt for the top 5. Don't go anywhere. We have more coverage from Dover in stage number 2, week 19. You are watching the Chapman Cup Series, presented by Racing Revolution and live on V-Speed. More coverage with Morgan Cook, Bradley Cooper, right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today.
Welcome back here to our coverage from Dover And it's week number 19. We've got Rob Rader up front with Jeremy Burns, a one-time and a six-time winner, the four-time champion. Getting ready to restart for stage number 2. Lap 65 about to be underway. And on the initial start of this race, we had a lot of cars damaged, but it's Rob Rader and a lot of conservative starts. A lot of wheel spin in the background, but we're going to make it to turn 1.
This continues to be one of the most difficult racetracks to restart in because of that 9 degrees of banking on the front stretch. Very easy to spin the tires. Most of the top 15 single files out here.
Side by side, we're watching here with Kevin Orlando Jr. He's going to dive to the inside and try to chase down Justin Ritchie. We were talking about positions gained or lost for Rob Rader. It's a ton of positions. Again, going back to the start, he went from midfield. Justice Murphy having some problems with connection. It's going to clear up a little bit here, hopefully. But we've single filed out already. Alex Forget to the inside, though, to break that.
They're not quite able to get to the quarter panel of Justice Murphy. Murphy's going to block him down the racetrack. Still a great run off the corner for the number 19 machine. Here comes Ritchie behind him. Get around Richardson. So Murphy's just going to let the 19 go.
So this field already spreading out. You can see them halfway around this entire racetrack. Look at this from the aerial coverage. There's Rader going into turn 1, and they go all the way back to turn 4 exit, while Rader's just now exiting turn 2. That's how fast they're getting around this place. 23.2 seconds. Close to the fast lap of the race for Rob Rader. Jeremy Burns, he just put up his fastest lap last time by.
Yeah, the front of the field is screaming on these new tires. Absolutely want to get all the goodie out of them that you can. You never know if that caution is going to come out. Richardson actually falling into the field here. He had a moment off of turn 4. Going to fall back to 17th for the 8 machine. Front of the field, no problems for them.
We got to the inside of the 12 of Justice Murphy. Got a little bit loose. Catches it. Keeps it off that inside wall, but a handful. He's able to get gathered back up and back to racing, but he falls back to 17th. He lost about 4 positions right there.
Just caught the wall a little bit off turn 4 as well when you're coming back. So definitely not a great couple laps for the 8 machine, but he'll get it sorted out here right away. And there is the man himself, Mountain Man Jeremy Burns, trying to get around his teammate, Rob the Rocket Rader, for the lead here at Dover.
He took a peek to the inside there briefly. He's putting the pressure on him. And you can see the double apex for the 53 versus Burns is just hugging that bottom line. Watch it right here. He's going to double apex this corner, but a different approach to 1 and 2, and it's kind of opposite for these guys. Looks like Rader was a little bit more consistent on the line through there. But down to the bottom, Rader's going to try the high line. He's trying to kind of dirty air and arrow block the 9. I don't think it's enough. He's still catching him.
Well, not only is he trying to change his line for dirty air's sake, he's doing what they do in dirt racing called diamonding the corner. You enter shallow into the corner, slide up in the center, and then turn it sharp left off the corner to elongate the straightaway. You can get a very good run off the corner and also drive it in fairly deep. And it allows you to carry speed into and off of the corner. Nobody can pass you because they have to get to your inside into the corner. It's just not going to happen.
Go back to talk about some of the drivers that have had success this season, and the first one that's coming to mind that had a tough break in the very beginning is the 22 of Travis Gilbert. He started on the front row, and with that caution that came out at the very beginning, he has not recovered at all. He has not made it back to the top 10. He's been outside of it ever since that happened.
Absolutely, just looking in a little bit further to the pit strategy for Gilbert. He was on pit road for quite a while this last time, so he's definitely getting damage fixed. And a lot of drivers in front of him not electing to fix the damage they got under that first caution on lap number 1. A lot of them are just electing to just roll with it the way that it is. Heat obviously has picked up some more. They're hitting that turn 4 wall, but he's trying to fix it.
As well.
He's trying to fix it, and that is costing him time on the racetrack, of course.
Just watch the 5 of Sirkovich bounce off of the turn 2 exit wall and allowed Brandon Richardson back to his rear bumper. We got side by side with Kevin Orlando in the 12 of Justice Murphy. Actually, it's the 26 of Kyle Diaz. Very similar looking red there. But that's going to be a pass for 14th. as Diaz is starting to hemorrhage some positions. He had made up a lot of ground, but started back in 26th, now falls back to 15th.
Absolutely under fire here from a newly repaired Tyler Harrison, who is the first driver 1 lap down, the 45. Just trying to bide his time till that next caution, if it exists. No more scheduled ones in the race, of course, because no more stages left in the race. So maybe the 45 will get back on the lead lap. Maybe he won't. We're going to have to see if this recharge rally machine can get back up there.
So this is your first time with a Rally Daddy Twisted T-Cam Recharge Rally, sponsor of the series, and we've had a couple different races where Tyler Harrison has broke this car out, but on board there, he's trapped a lap down like you said. It's not the situation you want to be in right now, especially with how this race has went. We had that big caution there at the start, and since then, it's been clean and green with the exception of the stage 1.
Absolutely, this is what we're used to seeing in this series and at this racetrack. The last 2 times I've witnessed races here, they have been fairly green races. Not a lot of cautions happen at this facility, so you better get buckled in, better get dialed in that long run, because it's going to be a lot of green flag laps here today.
Big battle on your screen. Burns pulling back up to the rear bumper. The Papyrus 53 has found his way to the lead with a little bit of strategy, but after the last pit stop, everybody taking 4 tires, and so it's kind of evened them out. He had pulled out almost 2 seconds over Jeremy Burns. This time around, it's an even playing field, and Burns has shown he has the speed, and then it goes back to dirty air. I think that's the only thing keeping this 9 in check.
Definitely part of it, and just the racecraft with 53, right? He's a 4-time champion for a reason. He knows how to get around these racetracks, knows where to put that next-gen car, and knows how to defend positions better than about anybody in this field, except for maybe Burns behind them. They're 2 on about the same level. I don't think anyone else really touches their ability to defend the lead. These Element X teammates are showing how it's done here today.
Michael Bennett, a little bit of company with Parker Johnston, and some side-by-side with Michael Reed. This is the 8th through 11th position. Alex Forget at the tail end of this.
Hornet's nest forming right here. Drivers who have had some bad luck early in this race, just trying to get through it. And Reed with the slide job there, it's going to work out on the 48 machine. Going to give Forget a way through as well. Exactly what the 19 needed. 10.
Forget not completing this pass yet. 48 up on the outside, probably going to have to lift out of the throttle. He'll stay with it. Right to the door, the 19 up on the outside. You don't see that too often at Dover. He's going to run the high line in a 1. Forget will complete the pass.
Let's see, Will saw right behind them. 27 at the wall, pretty hard. Turn 4 last time by. Wondering if that's damage. Kevin Orlando Jr. Diaz also got the outside wall. Speaking of Diaz, something we should mention, the Summer Bracket Challenge. We are at the semifinals right now. Here at the quarterfinals, I believe, here at Dover, if I can get my bracketry right, my goodness. So it's Burns versus Michael Reed, Harrison versus Dakota Floyd, Carter Lids and Trevor Erhardt, Kyle Stewart, and Kyle Diaz are the battles happening right now. Indianapolis next week, so we're going to figure out who is going to be in the finale.
With this graphic a little bit transparent, I apologize that it's a little harder to read this week. It was a lot easier to read at the Chicago street course, of course, that asphalt surface, but here with the concrete, a little bit more whitewash than I'm used to. But yeah, as you can see, there was a bye week for Burns. He got through that, of course. Trevor Keith had a bad week there at Chicago with the last corner pass. I mean, for those 2 drivers in this bracket to be the last 2 there coming it out of the wire, I mean, you couldn't script it any better than that. And Burns, of course, would have been eliminated, but found a way to win that race. And now we're watching a battle just behind this graphic. Let's get that off the screen and look as the 27 and 26 do battle.
And Diaz obviously on that bracket. What prompted us to bring it up here, he's trying to get a spot. He is currently leading his part of the bracket. Kyle Stewart currently trapped 3 laps down from the speeding penalty on that pit stop. So right now all Diaz has to do is keep this thing on the road out of the outside wall, and he should be able to advance unless something absurd is going to happen. He's only got just over half the race to do it, about 110 laps to go.
And while we were watching all of that, a pass for the lead. The 9 of Jeremy Burns found out a way around Rob Rader. This was just a couple laps ago here. He's going to get a really good run off of turn 4, send it into turn 1, and well, he's going to find his way by. This is probably one of the hardest passes to make at Dover, and he gets it done.
Absolutely, and it looks like in turn 3 and 4, the strategy he found is just go higher on the racetrack. Rader was already running the middle. Let's just run the very outside of the rubber stuff. You get that excellent run up off the corner. It allows you to set it up well for turn number 1, where he goes right to the bottom. And Rader missed a little bit. He missed that line. Ended up giving it to Burns. And then gave it to Burns right there down the backstretch. A little bit of, dang it, I can't believe I did that. And now Burns is gone.
Yeah, and that slight little mistake, these guys are trail braking into the entrances of these corners to get the car load up enough to rotate. But when you miss that brake zone, and maybe you don't push that pedal as hard as it needs to be pushed, brake bias, the tire heat, all of those things become a factor. And the front end of this car, as aero dependent as it is, it does become a plow even in clean air, especially if you don't trail brake exactly the way you did the last time.
And then you miss that corner like Rader did. You get up above the rubber and you get into the marbles. With iRacing in the last couple of years adding the debris physics to the sim, you get those marbles on the tires, and you might as well be driving a dump truck, because it is not going to turn worth anything and until you get them cleaned off into the next corner. So that was part of the reason why Burns was able to get around so easily once Rader slipped up.
You can kind of see the marbles here. Let's see if we can get another angle here. On the outside, you can see them. They've accumulated up towards that outside, and the 8 of Richardson just ran through them. I was kind of hoping I could see them bouncing off the camera. There's some places you can go on the iRacing service where our cameras are angled just right. Those marbles will fly up into the camera, and it kind of shows that, hey, these guys are starting to get into it. It's almost like hitting gravel.
Yeah, very much like hitting gravel. That's a great description of it. Except this gravel sticks to the tires, because it's obviously the tires are hot. Rubber likes to stick to things that are warm, so it's its own unique thing. As 3 of the top 4 just plowed the outside wall off of turn number 4. We're getting tight here. These cars are not wanting to drive the way that these drivers want them to, and we're still slicing and dicing throughout the field.
That was a slice and dice there by Justice Murphy. He got by on the outside of the 55 of Justin Ritchie, then goes to the inside of Parker Johnston. Well done there for the 12. He'll get up to 11th in 1 lap.
Absolutely. You can kind of tell when there's a driver who's struggling, because you can usually see a line of cars behind him, and it looks like the 48 is that car right now. A lot of drivers stacked up behind him, although they are now finding a way around, as I think that 48 is running that very high line. He's getting really tight into the corner, does not want to turn. Probably see it here.
He looks like he got a little bit better entry, but yeah, he got tight right off the exit, right there. He just got back to the throttle a little soon. It looked like he had good rotation on the entrance of that corner, but he's continuing to struggle with some contact with Diaz.
Yeah, that was a well-timed slide job, and that's something you can do here. We talked about Rader running that diamond line where you're going to be slower in the center of the corner. If you get a good entry and you kind of squirt the throttle and you're able to really drive by somebody and clear them, they can't throttle it up, or else they're going to plow the outside wall and you can steal a pass from them. It works here as well as the track we mentioned earlier, Darlington, did a lot in turn number 3. So one of the ways you can pass around this racetrack is notoriously hard to pass on.
Almost some contact there between the 12 and the 27, Murphy and Orlando Jr. I don't know if there was anything said on the radio for that one, but they used each other up on the entrance. I think the 12 trying to kind of pinch and cut off that entrance. It wasn't enough to keep Orlando from second guessing that. Diaz just clipped the wall. Richardson to the inside. The 12 also hit the wall. And Justice Murphy adds his list, or his name to the list of drivers that are struggling. as the 48 of Parker Johnston continues to hemorrhage his positions away. Halfway through the race, Jeremy Burns still your leader at Dover.
It's been a fun one so far. Obviously, other than the initial caution before we got the start-finish line on lap number 1, that was caution number 1, and the stage at lap 60, which was caution number 2. It has been clean and green. 4 lead changes. Stage 1 winner was Rob Rader. Jeremy Burns leads at the moment.
How about that, Morgan? That's better.
Better. Rob Rader, stage 1 winner, yes.
We all make mistakes from time to time.
Yes, we do. We've seen a bunch of them here tonight. Obviously, with the restarts, wall contact out of 4, out of 2. Haven't seen much in terms of door banging each other or running to the back of people. That hasn't really been something you can do with these cars at this racetrack. They're so aero dependent, like you say. You can't get to somebody's back bumper unless you have a massive run out of the corner, and then there's no reason to drive back anyway. So it's such a hard racetrack to get around.
Man, these guys are pushing that safer barrier in every single lap. They're eventually going to have to red flag this race to repair it. I think I've seen the 3 out of the top 5 hit it every single lap these last 3 or 4 laps.
They're testing it. They're definitely testing it. The driver I want to shout out here for just a second, Dylan Picklesheimer, a driver who is at the tail end of here, this top 6. Have not seen that car be in much of a bad spot at all. I haven't seen him hit the wall. I haven't seen him really push it all that hard. He was the first driver on pit road in that first stage. He is doing what he has to do here to keep in touch with the leaders. He's got 2.1 seconds out back to Alex Forget. So I'm really impressed with the 35 machine. He's giving it all it's worth right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a fantastic balanced race for him. He's not putting himself in bad situations. He's patiently waiting on guys to make mistakes. And I know he's had some conversations with guys in the past. I know that, Morgan, you raced in this series there for a little while, and I know that there's...
I don't know if you could call it racing, but...
Well, you were there. You were there.
I was there. I showed up.
That, you guys have had words exchanged with Picklesheimer, and I think that I've had words exchanged about Picklesheimer in other series, so it's good to see that, I think he's starting to find his balance between aggression and racecraft, and it's starting to pay off. Of course, he's creeping up towards the 41 of Trevor Erhardt as we speak, and Rob Rader falling back to this. We're accordion back from 2nd to 6th. There's plenty of positions to be gained if Picklesheimer can be patient.
And he was right. I am back in the broadcast booth, so I definitely can't say he was wrong after his comments at Daytona. As it looks like the 41's going to hit pit road. That's the first taker of the top group here. Gilbert's on pit road, so is Justice Murphy. Kyle Diaz as well, so a few takers. Ooh, just about a log jam there into the barrels. Raiders coming down as well.
Lenz with a black flag for speeding on pit road.
Justin Ritchie got one as well.
Man, oh man. Carter
That
Lynch
is
just lost the top 10.
That is a race killer, is what that is. Because not only, you're going to go 2 laps down for the pit stop, you're going to go another 2 laps down for the penalty. So you're going to be 4 laps down at some point in this race, and there is no making up 4 laps down.
Justin Ritchie also slides through the box. He's too far to the left. And the hold penalty for both those drivers. It's going to feel like an eternity. We're cycling through green flag pit stops. Alex Forget Berube also caught speeding on pit road. A lot of drivers in the top 10 having problems.
Yeah, that's a killer for him. He was just starting to make his way up into the top 10. That is going to put him way back. Burns makes it on pit road with no penalty, to the dismay of most of the chat, it seems.
Leaves Dylan Picklesheimer out on the racetrack. He'll get a lap led, and looks like he's going to bring it down pit road cautiously into 3.
Yeah, definitely the most cautious entry we've seen. Difficult to make it stick on the asphalt right there. He's able to do it. Definitely way to the left to avoid those barrels. I don't see any penalty for the 35 as Jeremy Burns is still on pit road, so he won't quite regain the lead yet. Where is Rob Rader? Pit. Couple laps sooner. Might be able to get him on the undercut here.
Looks like he will. He'll have about a
Easily.
2-second advantage after it's all said and done.
But more than that, he's already at 2 seconds and Burns is not to speed yet.
Yep. It's going to go up to 3.
So absolutely brilliant strategy call, at least at this point, for 4 time.
Alex Forget finally able to get back out on the racetrack. There's the 35 of Dylan Picklesheimer. And a lot of the cars that were ahead of Dylan, well, they just got penalties. So I think Picklesheimer is going to find his home in the top 5 now.
Looks that way. We'll see where he's able to cycle back out. Caleb Gilbert might catch up. He was one of the first on pit road as well. He's half a second behind the 5th place number 35 machine. Looks like Picklesheimer will hang out in the 5th spot at least for now. Close battle on the racetrack. Sorry about that. Close battle on the racetrack right now. Gilbert and Diaz for 8th right now, side by side.
So actually going back there, that was the 89 of Michael Call. He is lapped down right now. And you've got Grant Turner, Kyle Stewart, Carter Lenz, Dakota Floyd, Alex Forget, Tyler Harrison, Kevin Orlando. A lot of these cars claimed by that penalty. Speeding on pit road for a little bit more than 5 cars. I know that it's difficult to not hit the pit barrels, but it's even more difficult to get down to 35 miles per hour.
Yeah, we've said it a number of times. This is one of the hardest pit roads to get onto. The barrels are obviously the funny or day ender sort of mistake you could make. You overshoot it, hit the barrels. Oh, whoops! I knocked the front clip off the car. The motor's blown. Oh no! But it's so easy to speed here. You're going 150 miles an hour for the vast majority of these laps.
Yeah.
Like you see, you get down to 135, 140 right there. Now you're going to get down to another 100 miles an hour while you're braking and while you're crossing over 3 different banking transitions to get to pit road. It is so difficult to do that without speeding. And you got to be very conservative. You cannot hustle this pit road entry.
Jeremy Burns has already shaved that lead down a full second from the last time we mentioned it. Rob Rader with the undercut of about 2.5, 3 laps. And a little bit of lap traffic in between here with the 45 of Tyler Harrison. I believe that's the 15 of Trevor Keith ahead of that. There's the 15 and 14th position. He's trying to get one of his laps back, but the undercut just didn't work. And 31 laps now on the stint. He's going to lose a ton of ground. Here comes Burns, but here's the 45. He's going to try to defend it. 3 wide into 3 and 4.
Not exactly what Burns wanted to see. TK got his best to get out of the way. He's going to do so successfully. Harrison under fire from Burns. Right around him on those fresher tires. Little housekeeping as well. Justin Ritchie has left the session. He will finish likely in 24th. Zurkovich has left the session as well. He will finish 25th. Christopher Schaefer, after hitting the barrels, will finish in 26th here this evening.
And another lap lost to the 57 of Dakota Floyd, so he is no longer eligible for a free pass position. And the lucky pass position goes back to Trevor Keith as it sits right now, but remember, he's also at threat of going another lap down. He's going into 3 and 4 as Rob Rader comes out of actually going into 3 and 4. So he's probably okay. He's about half a lap ahead, but that's still, it's not a good situation to be in, especially if the car is starting to suffer on handling, which we've seen from that damage.
Well, also don't forget Trevor Keith, Michael Call. They're in a different sequence as well. They're 15 laps off of the sequence of the leaders. So he's going to have to pit here in the next 15 laps or so.
There's also the threat of more cars going a lap down with Daniel Holloway in 13th right now. This would put us at half the field a lap down. If Daniel Holloway does lose this lap, Rob Rader is definitely catching up to him. but he's running away from Jeremy Burns. Last time by, they were about even on lap times, a 24.021 to Jeremy Burns at 23.990. There it is on your screen. It looks like Raider is matching the lap times well enough that Burns isn't catching him anything substantial.
And that's all you have to do when you get the undercut by a lap or two. The tires on the guy behind you aren't good enough usually to march back up to you. If you have the undercut by say 10 laps and you get way out in front, you're 15 seconds out ahead, but that other guy is a lap faster than you, he can catch up to you over the course of the run. In this case, since the gap between when they both pitted is so close together, Raider pitting only at 2 laps before Burns does, Burns doesn't quite have enough to get there at such a rapid rate, although he is closing in about a tenth and a half a lap.
Yeah, this last time by, he was about a tenth and a half faster, and this one kind of matches the same. So it's very similar on lap times, though, for 3-lap difference. And I think once Burns gets there, Rob Raider is going to defend this position. Do we see another undercut? Because it seems like it worked well enough this time around. He can make up even more ground the next time he does it.
And not only that, you filed this away if you're Rob Raider, and you said, okay, we are 18 laps into this run for me. I got out to a 3-second lead, and I defended it for however many laps I defended it for. I now know that if we have a run to the end of under that amount of laps, I can undercut by this many laps and be fine to the end. And it's now on Burns to figure out what is the way to counter that. How do I make it flip in my advantage and be able to go get that lead back depending on how the end of this race shakes out.
And as long as that caution doesn't come out, the situation stays the same. And these guys are kind of playing their own strategy in their own race. They can afford to make a gutsy call as it's almost 3-4 seconds back to Trevor Erhardt, Michael Reed at 5 seconds back. Dylan Picklesheimer finds his home in the top 5. And he is comfortable with 3.5 seconds back to Caleb Gilbert. Car on the wall there. That was the 57 of Dakota Floyd. Off night here for Floyd. It all started there at the beginning of this race. He started in 4th. Car went sideways, and he was involved in that lap 1 incident.
Yeah, for qualifying in the top 5, it's never a good day when you don't turn a single lap in the top 5. That is not how the day wanted to go for him. And his teammate, Justin Ritchie, was in the same boat, qualified right behind or right in front of Dakota Floyd, ended up in the outside wall as well. And their teammate, Kyle Stewart, obviously having issues. He is 3 laps down, running in 20 seconds. So not a good day for the Orange Speed Sim Racing team here tonight at Dover.
Down to a second with Rob Raider and Jeremy Burns. Closest battle that I can find on the racetrack is Brandon Richardson. Travis Gilbert, 22. Now announcing his name in the 8th position. Great job for him to get back up there with all his damage. Maybe a little bit of a strategy call in the undercut. Gained a lot of spots, and hopefully he can maintain this. He has a playoff contention with the 2 wins this season, or 3 wins rather. He would love to capitalize in these final regular season races.
You mentioned the undercut. It also helps when 4 or 5 drivers in front of you speed on pit road. You're able to just inherit half of a handful of spots here just because other drivers weren't cautious enough onto pit road. So it's definitely, I mentioned earlier, you got to be cautious if you're going to be back in the field and try and work your way up. You can't just go send it, full throttle the whole way through it. You got to pick them off one at a time, and you get them in bunches when they all make mistakes like that.
We still have one more opportunity to do that with no cautions outside of that lap 1, and then we had the stage break that trapped a lot of drivers a lap down. This race has continued to evolve and change, but what has really changed here is a lot of lap traffic in front of the 53, and that's allowed Jeremy Burns to catch up. They're almost 3 wide in the 1 and 2.
Not only is it lap traffic, it is high-quality lap traffic. That's 11th and 12th on the racetrack, side by side in front of your leader, Forget as well, who has top 10 speed, but a speeding penalty relegates him back. He's in that battle also, so we got a lot of drivers here with some speed under the hood. The leader's got to get around him without having Burns pass him.
Rob Raider letting the 19 know, hey, I need to go. He's going to get to the inside of the 48 of Parker Johnston. They're going to get really close off of turn 2. Burns is there now, 0.2 of a second. 21 of Holloway takes that dirty air down to the 9. Maybe that'll help Burns or hurt Burns and get the 53.
Oh, heavy contact.
That's not going to help.
That wrinkled the right front. That's heavy contact for the 53. Oh, man, Justice Murphy aero blocked the heck out of the leader out of turn 4. That is not going to make for a pleasant admin meeting after this one, that's for sure.
With that chip on the wall, the 53 has right front damage. Burns is still trying to navigate his way through this traffic as well. 21 a Holloway to the inside for Burns, and he might get a 2-for-1. He's caught up now to Rob Rader.
Too many more laps like this with all this, and Erhardt's gonna be right there. He's only 2 seconds back, and he was 7/10 faster that lap, so it's not over yet for the top 3 either.
Burns is going to get a run off of turn 4. That damage hindering the 53. And it all started here with this lap traffic, and I think Rader knows it. He's going to allow Burns by. Now what do you do? The undercut
Crossover
worked there. That is a good crossover. I don't know if it's going to work, though.
The one way to find out, he is at the tire disadvantage as well. So maybe it is just 26 laps, how far you can run as that leader on the older tires. Battle for third as well. Erhardt and Reed side by side.
Reed by on the inside. He'll clear for the third spot. Michael Reed, of course, having a fantastic day. Started in 12th. He's gained 9 spots to be up here. Erhardt going to take it to the outside, and that sin there into 3 not going to pay off. He has to back down with some trail braking through the field, though, with Burns, Rader, Reed, Erhardt. We're looking at this battle here, and then you go back to Picklesheimer, quietly running in the 5th position. Caleb Gilbert 4 seconds back from that 5th spot. Then it's Michael Bennett with 0.8 of a gap there. Travis Gilbert on his recovery to 8th spot. Brandon Richardson to his outside. This battle is for that 8th spot. Kyle Diaz rounding out the top 10.
And then your last driver on the lead lap is Justice Murphy in 11th, who is right beside the leader right now. On the lead lap, no more, it looks like. Burns should be able to clear into turn number 3, force the issue in the center. Yes, he will slide up probably. That's going to put the 12 as the first driver 1 lap down, now in 11th position.
And we're on the clutch pedal here for Burns. Maybe that was Justice Murphy. I was looking back. Yeah, we're on board with Justice Murphy. He is trying to pull a strategy here. Are these guys not going to be able to make it 1 stop, or is Murphy just on a different strategy? It's 34 laps in the stint. I don't think it's any different.
He's on the same strategy, and you should be able to 1 stop him to the end here. I'm curious to why he's on the clutch pedal right now, and even more so, why are you starting the clutch pedal 35 laps into a run? That's a lap 1 of the run sort of strategy to make if you're trying to save fuel here. So, big wall contact for somebody. Oh my goodness.
Let's see, 11.
We had all 4 tires off the ground. Oh my goodness.
I'd have backed that up a little bit too far. Let's try this again.
He just pointed at the sky.
All right, I found it right there, so back it up one more time. It's coming off of turn 4. Wow. Big hit there. Matt Robinson, he's 24 laps down. He had the inside line with the 12 and pushed up the racetrack. For some of these drivers, it's been a difficult day. We've got Justin Ritchie, Jacob Sirkovich, Christopher Schaefer all out of this race.
Battle for second. Don't look now. Michael Reed is on a heater. Just got around Rob Rader. 91. Definitely want to keep an eye on here. Obviously came up a little bit short in the Truck Championship race on Monday to Jeremy Burns, trying to flip that script today and get that elusive win here this season at Dover.
Yeah, it was a connection issue there last race in the Truck Series, but he was the favorite coming into that event. And Burns, of course, battled out. I think he only won it by 5 points, or it was really close there at the end.
Yep. Over Dakota Floyd.
And Dakota Floyd, it just kind of became a gift there for Burns, knowing that Reed had that connection loss. I think with Reed having that issue, it kind of signed off the season. But it also goes back to Burns had 9 wins, and he almost lost the championship. In that race at Auto Club, he had one off week, and then just not getting the finish that he wanted, it all fell apart. So for that to happen, I feel like it wasn't necessarily the world correcting itself, but it made sense for Burns to win that championship with how dominant he was all the way through the season.
Absolutely. Oh, Justice Murphy just tagged the wall hard out of turn 4, right in front of the struggling
Erhardt.
Rob Rader. Erhardt got around him there. See it here. He's just tight up off the corner and boom. You can tell it's a big hit because when the front end, when the nose bobbles when you hit the wall, you know you got it a ton. And a lot of drivers have here tonight. Really hit that outside wall with a lot of force.
And it goes back to Rob Rader, who's running with that lap traffic, and ever since he got his damage, he's fallen back to the 4th position. Yeah, this car is definitely hurting, and he's kind of falling back to the clutches of Dylan Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer on the outside of Holloway, gonna get around. Very patient, now peeking to the inside. Just, again, goes back. Shout out to the 35.
And maybe we can get an onboard with the 35 versus an onboard of the 53 and just see kind of what we're talking about with this tight condition. I think this will be a really good example of what a tight car looks like. We're on board with Picklesheimer. You can see where that orange piece of the steering wheel is. You know, 15, 20 degrees in. A little back to the right on the straightaway. Like that's what it should look like. That's normal. Right? I bet if we look at Rob Rader, it is way turned. You can see that's another probably 5-7 degrees there through the center of the corner, and he's still hitting the wall. That's how off it is when you have that front damage. The right front tire not working properly, suspension's bent. Exactly what you don't want to have here at Dover.
And he's having to put a lot more trail brake there into that machine to keep it down on the racetrack. So now he's putting more wheel into it, but he's also having to steer or brake a lot more to keep it down there. He's going to lose another spot. Picklesheimer goes by. Rader going to try to fight here, but I don't think it's going to work out. You also have dirty air from the 12.
Pit sequence has started as well. Grant Turner, the first one, he also got a black flag for speeding. So that is not going to help for the 39 machine. He will fall back a number of laps. He'll have to come back and serve that penalty. It's money stop time.
Do the pit barrels claim another one?
Oh, the 11. Oh, the 21's in the wall. Big hit there. We'll have to go back and watch that one. Rader coming to pit road caused a kind of a chain reaction behind him. Put Holloway heavy into the outside wall. I think Rader called out he was pitting later. Then the 11 who just came off pit road realized 11 had to dive up the racetrack to get out of the way and not spin the 53. And of course, Holloway had nowhere to go, locked him up into the outside wall. This sequence has definitely begun.
Michael Reed is 1.8 seconds back from your leader, Jeremy Burns. He's going to bring it down pit road. Able to avoid the barrels, gets it down to 35 miles per hour.
As close as you can get to not hitting those barrels. Dang, he got close.
He pushed it on the entrance of pit road. Now you got to wonder, when does Burns decide for his pit stop? He has no one behind him. It's this time around.
Can hand the lead back to Dylan Picklesheimer in the 35. He will be the last driver to hit pit road. Everyone else, it seems like, on pit road or a lap down.
Caleb Gilbert also in for service. Picklesheimer goes another lap. Don't want to stretch this out too far. All that ground that you made up, that being patient, you can lose it. He will have a little bit of a tired advantage, but if I was the 35, I would bring it down probably this time by.
On the flip side, if you don't want to pit the lap after your competitors because you will forever have that deficit, you'll never be able to make it up. If you leave it a couple laps, you will for sure have an advantage for the final 40 laps of this race. And you might be able to make something with it. The tires might fall off too fast. It's really up to how well you are on the 100 yard in the long run, but at least you have a better shot that way. So not to contradict you, Bradley, but there's two different trains of thought there, and I think both are correct on certain racetracks.
It's just a weird scenario. 57 into the inside wall down there on the bottom of the racetrack. Dakota Floyd's struggles continue. And Picklesheimer, I think, going a little bit too far. I mean, I could see your strategy there, but now I think he stretched it too far to make that work. I don't know. It's time lost. We're talking about a full second a lap now.
He
Jeremy
is also
Burns
the only driver on the lead lap right now. So caution comes out, and he is in absolutely the best position. He's coming down this time. It'll be 3 laps the difference on tires between these two, which is exactly what it was when Burns was able to catch and pass Rader. So curious to see what that looks like here.
So finishing up with green flag pit stops, we've got under 40 laps to go, and Jeremy Burns is going to take back over the lead. Michael Reed is 0.8 of a second back, and he's got 1 lap older tires than the 9 car. Lap traffic in between these two. But while we watch side by side, we're going to take a quick commercial break. You are watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series live on VSP. More coverage continues right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
All About Bugs Tennessee Pest and Termite Control is all about family too. Our family-owned business has successfully been in operation in Sevierville and surrounding areas for almost a decade. Especially during these times, a pest-free home is necessary for a sustainable, disease-free home or business. Our services include residential, rental, commercial, hotel, motel, cabins, you name it. Free quotes and inspections for new customers, and most of our services are contract-free. Our All About Bugs Tennessee family is devoted to delivering the best possible pest control service with a friendly smile. Contact us at 865-453-5574 today.
If it's bugging you, you should be bugging us.
So Chapman's been around for 32, almost 30.
Welcome back to our coverage here from Dover Motor Speedway, and Jeremy Burns, Michael Reed, Trevor Erhardt, the top 3. We were talking there during this position battle. Michael Reed a little bit quicker, but it's starting to level off. We still have lap traffic being a factor here. Morgan, what is your take on these final 30 laps?
Yeah, it's going to be a shootout. Here we got just under a second gap between first and second, and as you mentioned, Jeremy Burns is just about to hit a lot of lap traffic, some of which lap traffic up in the top 10. Brandon Richardson, Kyle Diaz are those drivers I am talking about right now. So it's going to be difficult for Burns, and this is the opportunity Michael Reed needs. Just has to stay in touch until they get the lap traffic, and maybe can take advantage of the poor aero position of the 9.
We're also talking about Dylan Picklesheimer running in the 5th position, will most likely catch up to Rob Rader, who has that damage. But it's also about 4 seconds total up to the top 3. Picklesheimer looks like he could get a podium out of this with going a little bit longer on this strategy. He's about 3 or 4 tenths faster than this top 4.
Starting to level off a little bit now, but Trevor Erhardt is the one that kind of has to worry a little bit about the 35 and really save those tires. Michael Reed and Burns are really the only 2, I think, that have a shot at the win here, as they're the only ones within about 7 seconds. But the rest of your top 5 very much up for grabs with the rest of those drivers.
There was a pass for the position back here in 18th position, and we'll take it on board with this driver. He's a good guy. He's having a rough time right now. Started in 17th, currently running at 18th, 3 laps down. It's Grant Turner in the 39. And a beautiful paint scheme. It's just a shame that this car never really got to show what it had at Dover. Again, caught up in that lap 1 incident. A lot of these guys, you could say, probably didn't get to show their potential with that damage right out the gate.
I mean, half the field is 2 or more laps down, and there's another 6 of them up to the top 10 that are 1 lap down. So definitely a lot of drivers. Yeah, he's got the hands off the wheel. Oh man, it's one of those days here for Grant Turner. Oh man,
he let go of the wheel and it let go of his connection there.
Oh no. Oh, I think he's been having issues with power. Might be a power outage in his area. Yeah, that's going to be a day ender.
V-speed first.
It absolutely is. He called it, threw the hands up in the air, and away he went. Oh man, that's tough for him.
Well, another emote maybe in Racing Rev's Discord?
Yeah, that's going to make it onto the Discord for sure, along with that. We keep bringing it up, and I'm sorry, Trevor. We're going to stop bringing this up eventually. The video of right after that finish of that race, but I think that's it. We're done talking about it now for the rest of the season. Maybe I'm not here next week, so maybe you and Alex will pick it back up, Bradley. But I think he's tired of us talking about it.
We got him back on here, looking through his connection now. Whatever happened, it might have been a connection issue for Turner. Yeah, he's not happy. He's smiling, he's laughing, but I know that's disappointing.
Absolutely, that'll put him back. He might be able to stick to 22nd. Probably won't fall down to 23rd, but he's going to be in there around that early 20s position if he's able to get back here in the session.
Port forwarding. That's all I can say, Grant. If that's maybe something he needs to look into. I, of course, can help you out with that. I've had this issue before. Morgan, you've seen me get booted out of sessions just randomly, and during broadcasts even. It was a problem I had. Seems like every update iRacing has, there's always some new quirk and problem. And we slowly iron out the wrinkles here on the service.
Absolutely. But it's still the place we all choose to spend most of our weeknights, of course, here on VSpeed. If you haven't already, like the video, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a moment of the racing action that we bring to you pretty much every day of the week, where the drivers choose to spend their time here on iRacing. We choose to spend our time here as well. So why don't you join us? It's a good time here, and this one is definitely no different. Been green since lap number 60, 120 on laps. Only the one caution for cause. It was before we even got to the start-finish line on lap number 1 that ended a bunch of people's days earlier. Definitely derailed them. Getting down to the nitty-gritty here, though, Bradley.
Well, I'm going to go back there to that lap 1 incident. If we have a quick second here. It's gonna take a second. Here we go. There we go. We're back up to. This is the beginning of the race where it all started. What we keep referencing back to. And the unfortunate set of circumstances to start this race off. That's why you're seeing the 22 of Gilbert back in 8th right now. The 57 of Dakota Floyd as a lap down. This is the chaos that started this race.
And your top 3 drivers, or 3 of most, I shouldn't say that. A couple of your drivers up at the front there got through it clean. weren't in this. Trevor Erhardt's one of those guys. Lynn's had a speeding penalty, of course. Those were two of your top three early. They got through it clean. You'll see it here. A bunch of these guys with damage right away and unable to recover from it.
A parking lot on the front stretch for lap 1, but since then it's been clean, it's been green, and Jeremy Burns has now led 115 of the 184 laps complete. About to be 185 with 116, and Michael Reed is starting to fall off. He was about a tenth slower that last time by, and was actually about even that time around, so maybe saving the tires for this last 15 or so. I don't know if he has enough time at this pace to catch up, but he is matching the lap times. We go back deeper in this field as there was a pass for position. It was the 8th spot on Michael Bennett. Brandon Richardson up to 8th spot. Travis Gilbert got by as well, and Gilbert's up to 7th. Dylan Picklesheimer passed Rob Rader. Top 4 right now for him, but he's still 4 seconds back from Trevor Erhardt. Podium finish looking for the 41 Black Rifle Machine.
Absolutely set a pass back here. Trevor Keith on pit road. He has got to the end of his stint. He's the last driver from that previous sequence to hit the pit lane, so he will hemorrhage a couple more spots, probably fall down to about the 21st position for the KSX Pit Barrels number 15. And yeah, definitely a bit of a dismal day here for a lot of drivers, the 15 included.
Just wanted to get a quick shot there, and Keith coming back out on the racetrack. Again, we have driver cameras available to anybody that wants to bring them up. I know at the start of the seasons, we usually have 15 of them, and we can't get through them all. And then guys are like, well, they didn't show me, so I'm not going to do it next week. We try to do it as much as we can, but there's a lot of races that, especially early in the season, it's just difficult. There's so much happening. And with a race like this, Morgan, you know, as a producer, it's easy to go and watch a bunch of cameras. Where are we at? 3 wide?
They were for just a second back in 18th. Keith coming off pit road, Kyle Stewart, and Kevin Orlando Jr. had a 3 wide moment, turns 3 and 4. Somehow got it straightened out. Yeah, right there. That's not what you want to see. I think all 3 hit the wall at the exit of turn 4 here. 2 out of 3.
There was a couple more cars behind him that got a piece of that wall. It was 26 of Diaz and 48 of Johnston. Yeah, but back to kind of what I was mentioning with the driver cameras, if you do want that link, it is in the Discord. You just have to ask Rob Rader for it. I know a lot of you guys have webcams or even broadcast and stream live. Tyler Harrison was another one of those drivers that used to have a camera every single week. And even though, you know, he's still got the twisted T-cam, Rally Daddy twisted T-cam, I would like to see Tyler Harrison. We offer this as a service. It's an extra for the broadcast. You guys should utilize it. Hopefully that's as far as I need to plug it.
And while you were doing that, we had one more driver fall a lap down. We are now up to 6 cars on the lead lap. 7th place Travis Gilbert, now the first driver 1 lap down should we get a caution. But with only a handful of laps here to go, just about come to a close, and a lot of this field is thinking, thank goodness, I want to get the heck out of Dover, Delaware.
Your stage winner has fallen back to 5th. Picklesheimer trying to chase down Erhardt. It's still 4.5 seconds. And Jeremy Burns has led 130 laps, I believe. 124, but yeah, once this thing's all said and done, it's going to be at that 130 mark. Just, again, it goes back to he's had a great season in the trucks, the confidence to win the championship finally here in Racing Revolution, and just what he's put together with his collegiate esports career. And I think right now his confidence level is through the roof, Morgan.
Absolutely. I mean, to be at the age he is, with the resources around him, with the talent he has, and the results that just continue to pile up. I mean, everything is sunshine and roses for Jeremy Burns right now. And, you know, when things are great, things are great. And I don't expect this to change anytime soon. It's ever since I've known him for the last 18 months or so, he has been one of, if not the best driver that I've raced against. Rob Rader being another one up there, and then some over in SNR with Jeff Wright, some guys that you know quite well, Bradley, that These are the upper echelon of drivers on V-Speed. There really are no one better than those three that I mentioned, and a couple others, like I mentioned, just kind of sprinkled around, but just incredible talent, incredible poise. And in 4 more laps, it's going to be another win in the record book that goes on the table for Jeremy Burns.
Looking for win number 7 on the season. He has a 3.1 second lead over Michael Reed. Michael Reed having a fantastic race as well. He had a lot of success in the Truck Series. That has translated over for him as well. And I think for Michael Reed, this
Bennett,
is
heavy damage.
Bennett back here in the 14 and 10th. He's coming down pit road.
Yeah, meatball flag. He hit something real hard here.
See if we can squeeze in a quick replay. I think it's off of the entrance of 3. What happened here? I don't know.
Oh, did he hit the barrels?
No?
No, it was previous to this where he got that meatball.
Maybe this makes sense now where we saw the 12 on the clutch pedal. Maybe these guys were a little bit short that pitted earlier than everyone else. We hit 2 to go, and now the white flag going to come out this time by, again, 3.5 seconds. And your white flag up in the air, presented by Erhardt Homes. Love where you live. Jeremy Burns just has 1 more mile left to go. Less than that as we talk about it. It happens fast here at this concrete oval. Miles the Monster claimed a lot of victims, but he couldn't claim the 9. And the Metroplex Ford Mustang coming off of turn 4. Jeremy Burns with his 7th win of the season coming at week 19. Michael Reed crossing the line in 2nd. Trevor Erhardt 3rd. Rob Rader and Caleb Gilbert had a little fight here. And it looks like Rob Rader able to get back around him. We'll take a replay on that real quick. This was a squeeze for 5th spot, and Rader did not want to let it go. He bounced off the wall, and there it was.
Oh, man. The gap there. 43 thousandths of a second.
Wow. Well, congratulations to your winner. We're going to burn it down on the front stretch with Jeremy Burns. He's no stranger to victory lane, and while we round these drivers up, the first one that we are going to talk to is your race winner. Of course, we've got interviews with the top 3 in those final race results after that. With 131 laps. Would love to know the statistics of the total laps led here, Morgan. How many laps has Burns led this season compared to last season? There's so many statistics that we could go through on the improvement. But this Metroplex number 9 has just been phenomenal and has found a way to capitalize every single week. Even when he's a little off pace, he finds a way to win. And back-to-back now, another one in the books.
Definitely reminiscent of the Kevin Harvick run he had when he joined Stewart Haas Racing, where every single week, even if he wasn't the fastest car, he found a way to end up in victory lane time and time again. Phenomenal drive for Jeremy Burns here tonight.
So now that we have an opportunity, Burns off the racetrack, we're going to pull him into the broadcast booth. And quick interview here with you, Jeremy. I know that tonight was kind of a strange one. You had lap traffic, mixed strategies, and that turn or lap 1 debacle on the front stretch. I mean, everybody but you and a few others was involved in that. And it just looked like this race panned out perfectly for your long run strategy after that.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened on lap 1. I looked back and it reminded me of the county fair, seeing the demolition derby back there. So I don't really know what happened. I have to go back and see what actually happened because all I saw was a wall, behind me. But overall, it felt like we had really good pace, especially on the long runs. I felt like Rob and there at the end, Reed were pretty competitive up there on the shorter run. But I don't know what it was. I was just able to wrap the bottom, and the way that I was kind of diamonding the corner, it was letting the tires naturally take the corner instead of putting a lot of heat in the right front, which it appeared that those guys were struggling with it. But Just in general, really happy to be back up from an off week. It's been a great week, especially after Monday. So it's just been an amazing week, and I've really appreciated everything that has come from it. This is the last dash to the finale and the championship. So to start out like that's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
But you
out of-
became. Sorry, go ahead, Morgan.
So yeah, like you mentioned, out of off weeks now to the rest of the season, and you got that championship on Monday. So congrats on that. And just out here today, 131 laps led. You mentioned you only had really Raider and Reed coming down to the end of this race, though. That bracket challenge, the summer bracket challenge, Reed was your partner you're paired against. How nerve-wracking was it seeing that the 91 machine get a little bit closer at the start of that run, lap after lap? What was going through your head there?
Well, I mean, it was a valiant effort. I mean, he was far back there, especially at the beginning, and I don't know if he was caught up in that lap one debacle or not, but he definitely fought all night and was just gaining spots after spot. And I knew that after he had pit, I had to basically follow him, and that was going to be the decider right there, whether I could stay out in front on fresher tires. And he ended up gaining. It went from like 1.1 down to 0.8, 0.7. And then after that, I think that he was just pushing a little bit hard, and it was really hard in traffic to pass people. So a valiant effort by him, and it's always great to race around him. But just so happened that tonight was my night, and we'll move forward in the bracket. And I don't know who we're facing next, but we'll be ready for him.
Should be facing Tyler Harrison, I believe.
Oh, great. Love him.
He's going to probably pull out everything he has for you. I know that you guys have had a pretty fair and fun competition, but again, going back to now your 7th win, Jeremy, and it's translating from the truck series. You brought out 9 wins for that season. It almost all went away there in that final 2-week stint, but you were able to put it all together again in that final event. Jeremy, I know there's a long list of people that you want to shout out, and maybe you could add a couple more along the way.
Yeah, well, shout out Morgan Cook for being in the booth tonight. Really good seeing you, buddy. Just a huge shout out to my mom and dad, Josie, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, Miss Betsy, Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shannon, Belinda, Betty, Colleen, Tommy, Chrissy, Dana, and Dylan. Element Exit Performance. We had a lot of good intel and a lot of good feedback tonight. Nick wasn't driving, so he was actually spectating and giving us info, and it was really helpful tonight. Metroplex for being on the hood. Love the support they have. Everybody over there have been super supportive this season, and I just can't thank them enough. Enginuity Power Systems, Chapman Environmental, the sponsor of the series, Buttkicker, Coastal, Ultimate Exterior Lighting, Erhardt Homes, all about bugs. And of course, y'all up here at V-Speed, y'all do a phenomenal job. And that was a lot of green flag racing, so I'm excited to go back and watch the coverage of this one because I didn't really get to see a whole lot of it. So I was more focused on what I was doing. So, and huge shout out to all the admins and drivers. Had a little bit of things going on there. Huge shout out to the Pit Barrels car. I know that we claimed a couple victims tonight, so yeah, I can't wait to see that updated paint scheme, and yeah, we'll take it on next week. And special shout out to Terry Hudgens.
I think you covered them all there. Morgan Cook got you right out the gate. That's the first time I've heard him start off with anybody else. So pretty awesome to have you back in the booth, Morgan. And Jeremy, as always, we appreciate you coming up here in this post-race coverage. We look forward to seeing you next week at Indianapolis.
Yes, I appreciate it, boys.
So there you have it. Jeremy Burns adds another victory, and we move on to the rest of our top 3 and final race results in just a moment's time. Again, you are watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series live on V-Speed and presented by Racing Revolution. Don't go anywhere. We'll have your favorite drivers right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Welcome back to our coverage of week number 19 from Dover, Delaware. It was Jeremy Burns who got the victory, Rob Rader who got the stage win, and it's the 7th victory for the number 9. The Metroplex 4 Mustang has been phenomenal in both series. As they wrapped up the truck series, he became the champion, and now in just 2 more days, he becomes another multi-win for the season. I just know that Jeremy Burns' confidence level is super high, and there's the race recap. It was 2 cautions, one on lap 1 and one at the stage, and then it was clean and green from there. Of course, you know, you never know how these races at Dover can go, but it goes back to just focusing in and taking your time, being patient. And a few of these drivers we're about to mention showed that patience. Michael Reed started back in 12th. He works his way up to the top 3. We'll get a word with him. And Trevor Erhardt, phenomenal drive for him. He was up in the top 5 for a lot of the day. It's Dylan Picklesheimer that I think played the best patience game. He started in 3rd, and he was even patient with the entrance of pit road to not make a mistake. We did have drivers claimed by that pit barrel here tonight. And of course, the theme of the night was not hitting those barrels. Rob Rader couldn't avoid that outside wall, though. He picked up a lot of damage during that cluster of cars and lap traffic. He had the lead, brushed the wall. Jeremy Burns took it over. Caleb Gilbert will finish in 6th spot. Then it's Travis Gilbert with his recovery from lap 1, finishing in 7th. 8th, Brandon Richardson in the number 8. Kyle Diaz and Justice Murphy will round out your top 10.
11th spot tonight belonged to 21. Daniel Holloway had an issue there, hitting turn number 4 wall with a little bit of race left to go here. He rebounds for 11th. Carter Linz, after a speeding penalty, down to 12th. First driver 2 laps down. Alex Forget, same problem, speeding penalty. Tyler Harrison caught up in that lap 1 melee. He finishes in 14th. Michael Bennett got a meatball at the end. He finishes 15th. Kevin Orlando Jr., rough night, 3 laps down in 16th. Trevor Keith, 4 laps down in 17th. Kyle Stewart with a speeding penalty. He finishes 18th. Michael Call, 19th, and Dakota Floyd with a dismal day, first driver to hit that outside wall on their initial start. He finishes in 20th.
Parker Johnston for 21st after starting in the top 10. Grant Turner threw his hands up in the air. The connection went away, and he'll finish in 22nd. Ended up not losing any spots out of that. Matt Robinson going to finish in 23rd, and the 11 car, I think, left all 4 tires off the ground there out of the exit 4 at one point in this race. Justin Ritchie, early exit for him, 24th finishing spot. Jacob Sirkovich in the 5, 25th, and Christopher Schaefer. He had a combination of things, but ultimately it was the pit barrels that got him the worst, and he will finish to round out your field.
Yeah, he failed to Evite Les Tonneaux, and that's a big mistake here tonight for the Evite Les Tonneaux 200.
And we make light of that, but yeah, it's a difficult pit road. This is the hardest, second hardest close to Darlington to get on and off a pit road. 35 miles per hour is just it's a tough one, man. I've had nightmares about these pit barrels in the past, but let's get on to our post-race coverage and get the rest of our top 3 up into the broadcast booth. The next driver that we need to talk to, Morgan Cook, has caught up with Michael Reed in the number 91.
Michael Reed, Morgan, and Bradley up in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yeah.
All right. Well, here we are at Dover. It's a couple days after the championship race at Vegas there in the Truck Series. Came up just a little bit short there, and kind of the same deal here tonight. Bittersweet second place. Obviously, always great to finish second. Not great to finish second to Jeremy Burns in the bracket challenge. You're pairing this week. How are you feeling? Is it good vibes? Are we a little bittersweet? What's going through your head right now?
No, I'm feeling really good about this race. I've had a rough summer stretch with this Cup car, so had some internet issues Monday night. It gave me an error and the server shut down on me, so didn't get to finish that one out. But truth be told, Burns put on a great truck season, and he deserved that championship. Still bummed, would have loved to have gotten it, but glad to come out here and finish second. It feels good after having a lot of these internet issues on the Cup side as well.
Absolutely. Well, no issues tonight. This thing was bad fast. Started in 12th. I think you were pretty well able to avoid that melee on lap number 1. We'll talk about that in just a second. But you were really, after Rob had issues with the outside wall, you were the only driver really in the same zip code as Burns tonight. At the end of that race, how hard were you pushing trying to catch up to him?
Yeah, I would say a little too hard. I felt pretty good about it before that last green flag pit stop, and then I thought I might be able to get him. I think I came out about a second behind him, and thought I might be able to piece it together there. Then probably about 15 laps in, I realized I was pushing it too hard, and I think I just pushed those tires past recovery. I couldn't get them back under me after that.
Yeah, understood. And want to touch on that initial lap kind of debacle is what I think what we've coined it as up here. You started in the high lane in 12th. What was your take on that incident on lap, technically 0, but coming to the start of the race?
Yeah, we were just talking about it here in the waiting room. Yeah, I just saw a couple cars getting sideways in front of me. I started backing out immediately. I was getting into it a little bit, then I got pushed further into it. It was apparently it's pretty slick on the straightaway starting off. So where I was starting, I was so far back I didn't have to worry about it. But I guess it was a little tough on those boys.
Absolutely. And well, we got you up here. Who do you want to thank? You want to shout out for a second place finish here in the Evite Les Tonneaux 200, where you were able to Evite Les Tonneaux?
Well, if I got any family watching, I'm not sure who might be watching tonight, but if anybody's watching, shout out to them. Shout out to Burns on that. I know we touched on it, but shout out to Burns on that Truck Series championship. Just a public shout out to him. He did great. I was glad to see him pull that one together and get that one.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Michael. And that's your second place finisher tonight, Michael Reed.
All right. Thank you, Morgan.
I do have a correction here, Morgan. We were going through, it was actually his 8th win of the season, Jeremy Burns. And so that was a little mistake maybe on my part. I was going off of the statistics in the postable points, but you go over to the playoff points, it's a different stat. It has 7 there. So it was Coda, Phoenix, Texas, Charlotte, Michigan, Sonoma, Chicago, and now Dover. So that was my mistake. I will try to do a little bit more research, but we have so many things here on this Google Doc that sometimes it gets a little difficult. Things get jumbled up. And so everybody trying to update those things. I just wanted to correct myself on that. But we have more drivers to talk to. We have one more with Trevor Erhardt, third place finisher here tonight. And Trevor, I got to say, this Black Rifle Coffee Under Armour All About Bugs machine, it looked bad fast, but man, how much easier would it have been if we didn't have that cluster of cars lap one? And I think you got a little piece of that.
Yeah, I got through it clean. I was too conservative on and off pit road all night long and gave up too much track position to Burns and Reed. I was about equal with them on pace, so I think you a bit more aggressive here and there. Who knows? But it's all about maximizing points and making sure you don't make mistakes when you have a good finish in sight, and that's exactly what we managed to pull off tonight.
Mitigating mistakes. We saw, a few drivers like Rob Rader that finished behind you there, that all it takes is one clip with the wall, one contact with a car, and this thing just doesn't want to steer anymore. Was your approach to this race to be conservative? Maybe that's why on and off pit road and in certain circumstances you gave up a little bit of that time.
Yeah, I didn't get a lot of practice in this week for the race, and so I didn't really know what to expect. I know with the tire model changes, the cars has gotten a bit tighter and harder to drive, so I just wanted to come in and be conservative, save the tire as much as I could, and see what just let the race come to me, and it worked out well. Obviously, the chaos on the initial start there helps when half the field has damage from it, and then you just pick guys off as they either burn the tires up or get in the wall a little bit too much, and that's what we were able to do tonight. I do have to apologize again to Carter Lenz. I got into him getting on pit road, caused him to speed. I think we were up against each other in the bracket challenge, and that's definitely not how I wanted to win that. He definitely, I think, had a little bit better car than I did, so that would have been fun to battle him for that. But I have to apologize for that contact. But overall, it's been a really quiet season from me. I think this is probably the second or third time I've talked to you all season. But we've had top 5 speed all season. It's just trying to build this consistency before we get into the playoffs and really start pushing the envelope when we get there.
Trevor, I find that hard to believe because you came into this race 5th in the points, and like you said, you have top 5 speed. Well, it's proven itself in that overall. And for you as a driver, maybe frustrating to not get as many podiums, get as many post-race interviews, but you're doing something consistent every week.
Yeah, I mean, it's really weird. I know you guys have only been around for this is your second season with us, and so I think back a couple of seasons ago when I'm winning 3 or 4 races and really contending, and then last year was an absolute mess for me. I couldn't fight my way out of a wet paper bag with this car last year. So this season I came into it was just kind of the concept of don't overdrive it, take what you can get, and the results I think have for me at least have really spoken for themselves. Would I like a win? Yeah, I'd love one to be locked into the playoffs and have a little bit better of an advantage at the start of the playoffs. But I think this year we're just going to take the Mark Martin approach to it and see how far it gets us. And if we need to push the envelope a little bit harder, we will. And I think we got the pace to do so.
All right. Well, on top of all of that, I have one more question for you. And it boils down to we've got several races left here in the regular season. We go on to Indianapolis, Iowa, Watkins Glen, Richmond, and Daytona. Which one of those racetracks stand out the most to you?
Richmond and Daytona. I like Indy. I've gotten to really love Richmond. I've had speed there a lot. Just haven't got the finishes. I think that we'll put on a good show there, and I love the super speedway races. I know Daytona's going to be chaotic. I've won that race a couple of times on some varying strategies, so can't wait to get back to a super speedway race. But definitely looking forward to those two, the last two, before we get to the playoffs. But Indy next week should be fun. It's going to be all about carrying momentum out of turn 2 and turn 4, and hopefully I'm talking to you guys again next week, but hopefully 2 places better than we were this week.
All right, Trevor, we appreciate you coming up here into the broadcast booth. Anybody you want to shout out real quick while we have you in here?
Shout out to everybody in the league. I mean, that was a hard race tonight. I know we had one caution, but 200 laps at Dover with just the one incident on lap one is pretty amazing from everybody. So shout out to those guys, all the admins, of course, you guys up in the booth, and everybody at V Speed for the amazing broadcast you put on. My friends and family watching back home, my grandmother, my mom, my dad, my girlfriend, my sister, brother-in-law, nephew, all of them for tuning in every week and watching me. Do this for fun. All about bugs. All our sponsors, all about bugs. Chapman Environmental Services, the Erhardt Homes. Oh gosh, Buttkicker, V Speed, and I'm sure I'm missing one. And there's one more I think I'm missing. But shout out to all our sponsors. We couldn't do it without them. And I think that's everybody.
I don't know if you shouted Enginuity Power Systems.
That's
or not.
it. Ingenuity. I should know because they just won the championship with Burns on Monday night. So shout out to them, not only for their championship sponsorship of Burns in the truck series, but shout out to them for jumping on board and as a Cup sponsor as well. We appreciate having them on.
41 Trevor Erhardt podium finish here at Dover. We just have a handful of races left before we go playoff racing. Hopefully we'll see you at Indianapolis and everything works out.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
All right, Morgan, we have more coverage here continuing of the Cup Series, but this one's going to be concluded. Any final thoughts here before we let them go?
No, whale of a drive here tonight for all these guys. Like we mentioned a few times, 200 laps. One caution for cause technically happened on lap 0, so it doesn't even count. And the one stage break at lap number 60. Just a great drive. Very frustrating for a lot of guys. Looking forward to Indianapolis next week for most of these drivers, I would assume, as Miles beat up a lot of drivers tonight.
Yes, they did. Yes, he did. Looking here for July 13th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, week number 20. It's Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The history of this racetrack goes back to the early 1900s. And this long, square-shaped oval, if you want to call it that, goes back to a lot of racing. And at one point, NASCAR wasn't coming here. And they said, well, why not? And back in the late 90s, they started their venue and the journey to bring flag-to-flag coverage. We're going to do the same here on this season. And anybody that specializes in maybe a road course / super speedway style event could get a win here. It is a very technical circuit with its flat and 90-degree. It's so crazy to think how many unique racetracks we come to. Dover's in that realm, Darlington's in that realm, but this one really takes the cake, Morgan.
Absolutely flat. The corners here, the same banking as the straightaways at Dover tonight. So it's going to be wild next week in Indianapolis. These long straightaways, 2.5 miles around. Draft is going to play a factor. Handling is going to play a factor. Engine power will play a factor. And just being in track position is going to really determine who probably wins that race next week.
We hope you enjoyed tonight's action. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button. You'll never miss a single race, as we'll have flag-to-flag coverage of Racing Revolution and the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series. You can check us out at VSpeedSim on Twitter, X, and at VSpeedSim.com on your mobile browser or computer. For everybody, though, Anna Baker in the background, our other producers, Morgan Cook, who joined me up in the booth here tonight, Eddie Smith, Logan Threlkeld, and Lucas Lyons. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Dover, Delaware. It's moving on to week 20. Until then, everybody, stay tracking.